I am Corey Herring, the Assistant Team Leader for Keller Williams Northeast, and I'm going to be going over how we conduct open houses, not only to be a service to our listing and sellers, but to be a valuable resource in our community and hopefully create more opportunities to work with more buyers in your real estate market. Most of these things are applicable no matter where you're selling homes, but specifically I'm teaching this class to go over how to win in our market, which is the Kingwood, Houston, and Atascocita area. Our real estate office, Keller Williams Northeast, is the #1 office in Kingwood, and it's because with 35 years of experience, we've been doing open houses and leveraging opportunities to be a resource for our community. So just take any advice that you would like, and if you have questions, put them in the comments so that I can go over them on the next video, or reach out to me on my email in the link in the description. So why should I host an open house? I personally was hosting open houses in the beginning because what else did I have to do, right? When I didn't have a lot of contracts, when I didn't have a lot of business going on, there was nothing better for me than to house my office for the day for a few hours in a beautiful listing or a great opportunity. And worst case scenario, no one walked in. Best case scenario, I had a contract opportunity. So generate new buyer and seller leads, practice sales and communication skills in a live setting, get out in the community. Social media content, of course, always ask the listing agent, is it okay if I post this on my social media? Because there are some terms in their listing agreements where maybe the seller doesn't want this on social media. And gain feedback for the sellers on pricing and presentation. To me, that's one of the most important aspects of an open house. If you are an agent hosting an open house for another listing agent, be sure to provide feedback within the day that you host the open house so that they can present that to their sellers or at least give them a nice update. Picking the right house is also important. We have some neighborhoods, as you can imagine, here in the Houston market that no one's driving by, right? They're out in the woods, they're out off of a street no one knows about, and there's not a lot of foot traffic. So you want to pick the right open house, and you can hold those open to your own listings. Maybe it's a new listing coming soon to the market, low inventory neighborhoods, mid-range price homes. My personal advice whenever picking an open house is maybe find new to the market, but it doesn't have to be new to the market because there's a new buyer walking the streets of Houston every weekend, and you just have to be at the right place in the right time in almost all aspects of real estate. But you want it to be near a heavy major roadway or off of a popular street. That way there is more opportunities for foot traffic, and you always want to put your open house signs at those roadways. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but you'll always want to put those open house signs at those major roadways with a balloon because you want to catch some of that organic traffic. And well, honey, we're in the area. Let's just go stop by. Those are the best organic relationship opportunities. At my office, I also show you that our opportunities come from we send out mass emails for open house hosts needed. We send out a private Facebook group. We have our listing agents posting those opportunities regularly there. And then my personal favorite was I never wanted to go too far from home because at my first year, I was averaging, an open house every single weekend, and that can get rather tiring if you're driving all the way across Houston every weekend. So I would pull up HAR and look up my area that I was living in at the time. And then I would call those listing agents that had that listing in my neighborhood or in my market area and call them and see if I can host, is it available 12 to 2 on Saturday? Is there a preferred time for open houses? What has your experience been like for open houses? Don't forget to ask questions, right? You don't know what you don't know till you ask. Schedule your open house. Many forget to put it inside of whatever your showing platform is. We use the Showing Smart through HAR, and you want to make sure that you put it on the schedule as an open house whenever you're putting it in the app, and then that way you can get all of the best showing instructions. Now, typically the listing agent might send you some showing instructions, but we're all human, and you want to have the best information. And what if they forgot to tell you that the alarm code, has to put a star after it? What if there's something specific she forgot about at the time, or she doesn't send instructions? That's your best option for getting the instructions to open the door and take the best care of the property. Marketing materials before the event. You're going to want flyers to distribute in the neighborhood for local businesses and community boards. My favorite way to do flyers is to reach out to my preferred mortgage lender or one of my partners and say, hey girl, 12 to 2 Saturday, I'm going to be at 4321 Parkdale. Can you do a flyer for me? They co-brand it with their information and yours. On the front side is a beautiful palette with the photos. It's very aesthetic. It's got the information, pricing for the property. And then usually on the back side or in a separate page, they also have some really great consumer information regarding mortgages. That's always a really great asset for my buyers that walk in and kind of need some more educational options to walk out with. They'll usually design, print, and deliver it for you. But if you don't have the time to do that, or you don't have a partner, maybe you're like me sometimes and you just want to be in control of, the aesthetic and the brand and everything like that, you can always use our KW Canva partnership. And you can use the app inside of Canva, Keller Williams, and use the listing to drag and drop into your template so that you already have the photos, the descriptions already in Canva. And all you have to do is drag and drop in our preferred kw.canva.com. And all you have to do is log in with your command login. Social media graphics, custom design posts and stories for Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever it is that looks like for you. Sometimes a great tip is ask the listing agent, especially if it's vacant. Typically lived in homes, it's not great. But if the property is vacant, hey girl, can I stop by the day before and take a quick video to do some advertising for my social media? And then that way you're also already taking some videos for your social media content, you're getting it out there. And I would remind you at this point, it's not always the event that matters. If you're hosting any kind of happy hour, open house, or social, it's not always what happens at the happy hour or the event. It's what happens leading up to it. And by nurturing your database and people you've met at previous open houses, friends and family, like, hey, I'm going to be in your area. If you feel like stopping by and chit-chatting, just come to our open house and see what this listing has to offer. It's about nurturing your database. It's about leading up to the event, not so much the event and who comes. Email invitations, send to past clients, sphere of influence, fellow real estate agent network, text message invites, personalized messages to buyer leads and prospects, and then door hangers. You can target surrounding homes to generate interest in potential sellers. Little pro tip is a lot of apartment complexes are in fact real estate agent friendly. So if you ask them, can I bring a few door hangers into the community? I won't knock on anyone's doors. I won't bug them. Just, do you mind if I drop some of these door hangers off? And 9 times out of 10, they're okay with it. Don't forget to ask for permission. Otherwise, it's kind of trespassing. But it's really nice to bring those door hangers 10 homes to the left, 10 homes to the right whenever you're at your open house as well. Because my personal experience for my very first contract in 2020 was I was doing an open house multiple times in one weekend. And about the second day I was there, I believe, a seller down the street that had gotten my flyer that I put in his door, he didn't answer his door. I just put it in the door jamb. And he walked over there, asked me how much they were selling for, talked to me a little bit. I wound up listing his property right across the street, and then he bought another home from me. So it's a really great opportunity to build those opportunities with the neighbors as well as prospective buyers that walk in. These are what those These are what the broker open house flyers look like whenever you collaborate with a lender. Christy Freeman and Kayla Cannon with Fairway Mortgage are always open to partnering with you for those opportunities. And again, it's co-branded information for your event. And then it also has some great consumer information as well. At the event, you're going to want directional signs and balloons. If you ask a few different brokers, you'll get a few different answers. No less than 10 signs out there, you guys. You're going to want them at the major roadways. You're going to want them at the turning points for your house. And a lot of neighborhoods have multiple entrances, and you need to hit both opportunities. So my advice for a new agent, whenever you're still not profitable yet, and we believe in leading with profitability, not debt, buy a very cheap set on Amazon. You can buy about 30 for $20 on Amazon, and just put those out there. And then at my office, we have free balloons for our real estate agents to just come in, grab some balloons real quick, and then put them on your signs. You want the balloons because it shows the prospective buyers or visitors. One, it gets their attention quicker. Two, helium doesn't last very long. So there's more likely that they're going to follow that trail of signs and not end up disappointed that no one's in that house anymore. So you always want to put the directional signs, the balloons. You want to put your time and date on the sign, but Corey, I can't just keep like writing the same time over itself. Two ways to do the time and the day on your open house signs. I personally would get copy paper and I would print, in Canva, 12 to 2 Saturday on a piece of copy paper. And then I would staple it in between the bottom of the sign and the yard stake to where it was there as a piece of copy paper. And I would just rip it off for Sundays and just staple Sundays on there. Another opportunity is if you get masking tape and you put it over the white arrow, you can just keep putting that masking tape on top of itself, rip it off, and just write the time on the masking tape. So that way you're not writing on your sign over and over again. You can do your welcome sign in sheet. Your welcome sign in the front yard. I typically had a branded welcome sign that had my information on it so that any of the neighbors that were walking by saw my branded sign in the yard. But it could also just be another open house sign. You don't have to get too crazy. Do what you can whenever you're first getting started. Your sign-in sheet can be a printable from Canva. There is printable sign-in sheets on your Command Connect resources. You can find very easy sign-in sheets, but make sure it asks them, do you have a realtor? That's my favorite question to ask on there. If they say, yes, I have a realtor, I'm going to be respectful. I don't want to step on anybody's shoes. I only want the opportunities that are out there for me. And no matter where they're at in the process, if they said, no, I don't have a realtor, I put them in my database and we did our follow-ups. Property flyers. I always had to me, I consider my flyers for the open house, the professional one-page sheet with the home details. Your feature sheet, I always printed the MLS matrix document so that when they would ask me, what are the size of the bedrooms? Is this an electric heater? Is this gas? I always had that one sheet there for me, but I would print a few copies just in case someone specifically asked me for one. I also would bring the seller's disclosure printed with me as well. And typically, if I had time, I would put it in my reusable binder and leave it open on the island so that they always felt that full transparency when you work with me in real estate. Here's the seller's disclosure. Here's the feature sheet. What do you want to know about this house, right? I have the resources at my fingertips. If you don't have time to print them, just have them pulled up on your phone. So that way you can do a quick resource, okay? Branded business cards and brochures. I always love to have my refreshments and my, things. I always love to have it out on the island decoratively. And then before they left, I always would grab a business card, a flyer, and a bag of chips, and I would hand it to them. And hey, please take these. Sometimes people don't think to grab, people are hesitant. And it's nothing to do with you. It's just hesitancy in divine human nature. And so just hand it to them. Take the initiative and hand them the things, and they will walk out with it. For my refreshments, I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. So what I would typically do is on my way to my open house that morning, I would stop by the McDonald's drive-thru because I'm a McDonald's girly through and through. And I would grab a dozen hot chocolate chip cookies. That way the home smelled like chocolate chip cookies. I had a platter that I always brought with me, and I would just put those cookies out. I always brought napkins, maybe a pack of 12, 20 napkins, and then warm water bottles, okay? People are not terribly picky if your water is cold, and nothing frustrates me more than ice buckets, okay? It's dripping everywhere. I've got to clean up this mess on this island. You want to leave as little trace as possible in between these open houses. So just bring some room temperature water bottles. It's going to be okay, and leave them out for the consumers to grab. On a even more easy refreshments option, bags of pretzels, chips, bags of Chips Ahoy cookies. You can't really beat those, and it's something that you can reuse at multiple events. And so don't be afraid that people won't be impressed by your snacks if you just do chips and cookies. It's 2026. People aren't coming to open houses anymore for the food. They will enjoy the chips and the water, and just be sure to introduce yourself more than anything. A great asset too is scorecards. They're a fun way to engage guests at an open house and also provide feedback for the seller. So I would always keep them next to the sign-in sheet. I would ask them as they walked in, thank you so much for coming. My name is Corey. I'm with Keller Williams Northeast. What brought you by? And I'm kind of ushering them in as well in the class I typically show you. I'm ushering them through the door as I'm asking these questions. What brought you by? Great. I love when people follow my signs because, hey, we were meant to meet, or, something cheesy like that. I'm the queen of cheesy. And I'd be ushering them towards the island. And, hey, if you don't mind, please take the time to sign in for me. Grab one of our scorecards. And as you're walking around the home, please provide some feedback for us and the seller so that we can best help them sell this property. Don't hold back. Tell us what your thoughts are. And you can grab the scorecards from First American. They are happy to help you with those promotional materials, all kinds of things. They actually have an open house kit. If you reach out to Kathy and Elizabeth, they will provide you with an open house kit that sets you up for the weekend. Open house feedback forms are also available inside of Command Connect. That way you can just download and print them yourself when you need them. Oh, yes. Pro tip, use your vendor partners like a title company to get a list of neighbors to call and target on social media. Steve Sheeny with Capital Title is exceptional at helping you build a tailored list through Remine with HAR. It's no cost to you because, again, I'm cheap. And if I can find a bargain or a discount, I'm going to. And HAR already provides us all of consumer data that you need, but always please do it in a TCPA format. Always make sure that you're checking the do not call list and following the rules and guidelines. Protect yourself, protect your consumers. But if you can get a list of the neighbors to call and invite to your open house or email them the flyer, awesome. Get that done at least a week before your open house. Don't send it to them on Friday and you're hosting on Saturday. Try to have your open house picked on Monday, marketing going out on Wednesday. These are the things that were in my kit. I always brought a tub with all of these things just shoved inside of the tub because if I had to go grab this, it was too much of a headache. I was always on the go. So in my tub, I had a $50 open house flag that says agent on inside. This is not something I had my very first weekend I did open houses. I worked my way up to this. The first thing I bought was my open house standard signs. These little riders are so great, the tiny ones are so great for the quick turns in a neighborhood, and the bigger ones were so great for the major roadways. I had bought 2 packs of these, and honestly, they lasted me at least 2 years. I didn't have to buy open house signs very often for as much as I did them. I always brought pretzels because selfishly, I'm a pretzel person. So if I was by myself in the house and snackish, I wanted to grab something I wanted. And then I always did mini water bottles. You don't need a full size. Buy a house with me and I'll buy you the whole cooler, But these were easier to carry around, less messy in case, kiddos grabbed them, and just very convenient for everybody. I loved this sign-in sheet on Amazon. This is all available in my Amazon storefront, which will also be in the description. This was a really good questionnaire. It asked the right, name, phone number. Are you working with a realtor? Where are you at in the process? That way I had the best options. And it was very organized. I didn't leave them. Personally, after the open house, I would pull it and put it on my desk because they were going into my digital database anyways. And I always felt weird if somebody was just carrying around my personal information to all these other houses. So I didn't leave it in the booklet, but it kept it all together for me. And then a speaker, because personally, I never can work in silence. I always have to have music or TV. And so it just sets the tone very well. And I never wanted to touch sellers, TV or anything like that. And so I would always just place the speaker in the kitchen or at the entryway, playing soft jazz, country music. It was always very universal, very relaxed music so that I didn't hit anyone when they walked in with my chaotic rap music or pop music and just hit people the wrong way. Now I'd like to talk about conversations whenever you're at the open house. So let's start at the very top, okay? I found a list of neighbors in the neighborhood and I want to let them know I'm going to be hosting an open house. I would give them a call. Hey, neighbor, this is Corey. I'm with Keller Williams Northeast. I'm going to be hosting an open house down the road from you this weekend. And look, I know you're probably busy, but personally, I'm a nosy neighbor. So if you'd like to just come stop by, check out the house, maybe look at some features that they have that you're interested in, or just ask me questions about what it's like to be in this real estate market today, feel free to stop by. No pressure. If I was leaving a voicemail. If they answered, I would have a similar conversation, but it's who asks the questions controls the conversation. You don't immediately want to start throwing up on people that you're doing your open house if they answer. And I will say with spam blockers these days, I'm getting a lot more voicemails than I ever have had contacts. And yet the voicemails are a commercial all of the same in their phone. And so if you get them to answer the phone, all you need to say is, hey, I was going to be in your neighborhood this weekend. I'll be hosting an open house. Is there anything that I can help you with this weekend for real estate? I want to be a resource for you. And then after I do the marketing for the property and let the neighbors know, at the open house, if I had someone walk in, like we talked about a little bit already, I would open the door because personally, a safety note that I need to add a slide for safety is I never leave the door unlocked. There's nothing wrong with safety if you're by yourself in the home. If my husband came with me, I would leave the door unlocked because I felt fine. But I'm usually alone for a few hours by myself in some pretty busy areas. And so I leave the door locked when they walk up because I'm always watching the street. I know when someone's about to come in. I'm not somewhere in the house just scrolling on TikTok as much as I want to be. I'm usually watching when people drive up and park. So I see that they're coming in. I meet them at the door. I don't even typically let them knock. I open the door as they're walking up and I say, hey, welcome in. And I let them kind of, get together. How are you? Small chit chat. There's almost always little kids. So you're like, hey, little dude, love your shoes. Let it organically walk in. Don't immediately start throwing up on them, like I like to say. And hey, what brought you by today? And you're starting to usher them into the island. It's typically they saw the sign or they've been looking in the neighborhood. That's so great. That's so great. Are you already working with a real estate agent by chance? I ask up front. I am all about honesty, transparency. We know why you're here. We know why I'm here. I want to help more buyers and sellers. You want to buy a house. Let's go ahead and get it out of the way. Are you already working with a real estate agent? If they say yes, amazing. I'm sure you're in great hands. I'm always respectful not to step on anyone's toes. So in the interest of not advising you today, I'd love for you to just go take a look around and let me know if you have, any specific questions, but your real estate agent is going to be your best resource for those questions. Here is my flyer and some information about the property. Let me know. And then, of course, for safety due diligence, you want to kind of keep an eye on them in the home because if they're trying to scam or rob the house, they're going to say they have a realtor, so you'll leave them alone. And so just always be vigilant. I don't follow people around like a hawk inside of the home. If it's in one of my luxury properties, I do walk them room by room just to be sure that I'm on top of it. But in a vacant home, please, no pressure. Take a look around. I'm here whenever you need me. If they walk in and they say, no, I do not have a realtor, that's great. You are buying in a great market full of opportunities for buyers. Come on in, sign in for me, and let me tell you more about this property. At that point, I take the focus off of me. I put the focus all on them and the home. While they're signing in, I kind of give them, they've already probably pulled it up on HAR 9 times out of 10, but you always want to recap with them. This is a 3-bed, 2-bath home. All the bedrooms are upstairs. It's a 1972 build with some great bones, really great natural light. This is a great opportunity to get into your first home or, whatever, the situation that they told you is. And then I will always give them the flyer and go take a look around. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be right here in the kitchen or, walking around. Let me know what questions you have. No pressure. And then I always let them tour the house first, because if they came to look at the house, but they wound up sitting in the kitchen having to listen to a crazy lady talk about her success in real estate for 30 minutes, it's going to turn them off to the opportunity, right? And so they'll typically walk into the master, the living, they'll go into the back patio, they'll go upstairs. I always find a nice organic point to reapproach them and Did you see that bathtub in the guest bedroom? Did you see the natural light coming? I restart the conversation, bringing it back to them. Did you see the future of this house? Did you like it? What are we thinking? How are we feeling? Sometimes you'll see their face and they're like, and what are we thinking? Because also I just really like to hear what they're thinking. And then, before they leave, because typically they'll probably start heading towards the front door, I make sure that they have all of the promotional things in their hand that I want them to leave the property with. And I let them know, I know that you said you don't have a real estate agent. Do you want a list of other available homes in the neighborhood that you might be interested in taking a tour of? Perfect. Okay, what school district? Like I'm the queen of pen and paper, so there's going to be a clipboard in my hand. And I'll get the information. What else are you looking for? Is there a school district? What features are non-negotiable? Do you know your price? Have you talked with a mortgage lender? Okay, great. Well, it's really best, as long as you're going to buy within the next 3 to 6 months, it's best to get your pre-approval conversation started now without even running your credit. Get it connected to a mortgage lender, and let's really see what your buying power looks like, because I would hate for you to not know the price range. And that's really what makes or breaks a purchase, is just how much can you afford in the real estate market. And you would be surprised what opportunities are out there that you self-doubted yourself from. So they'll reassure you. And then if they did not talk to a mortgage lender yet, I asked them, can I do an introduction between you and my mortgage lender? And then as soon as they leave, I'm doing a 3-way text message between us and the lender. And because the right mortgage lenders work on the weekends too. And we go ahead and get that conversation started, okay? If a neighbor comes by, they'll tell you pretty quickly usually. It's, hey, I'm Corey, welcome in. Oh, I'm a neighbor. Amazing. How long have you lived in the neighborhood? Start walking towards the sign-in sheet. I know you're a neighbor, you probably know, but would you mind just signing in just so that we know all of the traffic that walked into the home? It's really important that we take good notes. And then I'll ask them about their experience in the neighborhood. How long have you lived here? What are your goals? Are you interested in selling as well? And just having a nice casual conversation with them. And I'll typically send them a thank you card after I'll ask them, which home do you live in? And then I'll send them a thank you card after, so that way they can go ahead and get another touch point from me later. Social media conversations. I always personally loved to do the Friday, the day before, the Thursday before. I would love to go to the house and, hey, everybody, I'm going to be hosting an open house at such and such property. It's available for this much. The seller is doing this in concessions. Come visit me on Saturday if you would like. And I never put the address. I might have accidentally slipped that just now. I never put the address on my social media unless it's the day of and I'm going to be there. But I don't know the science behind that, and yet I don't want to give somebody too far of an advance notice exactly where I'm going to be at by myself for a few hours. So kind of do your own safety depending on how public your posts are, how big your reach is. The bigger the reach, the more opportunities to be in front of other people. So if you have a really big audience, maybe try to do some safety protocols to not put that address too far. You can always just post photos and videos and say DM me for the address so that you can kind of qualify those people. But again, it's not so much that you want them specifically to come to your open house. You just want them to see that you're active in the real estate market. When I would also get there that day, and after I was done setting up, I would always go live on Facebook and like, oh, you've got to see this pool. And I would take them on a little tour through the home, and going live notifies all of your friends and family on Facebook that you're live on Facebook. They click on it and they see you out in the field doing real estate business. Another script Keller Williams offers is, hey, my name is Corey with Keller Williams Realty. I'm holding the property at 123 Main Street open Sunday 2 to 4. I'm just inviting all of the neighbors to come take a peek. Will you be around to come stop by? And then always, I like to make light jokes of everything, no matter how serious it is, right? We make light jokes and try to create a comfortable situation. So, whenever they say no, that's okay. There's still time if you want to make it. I don't love that one. I always like to say, no worries. I know we're all busy on the weekends trying to relax. So by chance, would you like me to send you an updated comparable sales report for your property to see where the value lies in the home? You'd be surprised after 2020 and 2022, just how much equity most people have in their home they didn't realize they could capture. No obligation to sell, but do you know how much value your home has for you? Following up, provide feedback immediately to the listing agent or the sellers if they're your sellers. Typically, when I was in the car after I packed up, you always needed a minute anyways in the Texas summers to breathe. So at that point, when I was just sitting in my car, I would do a quick email, quick text, maybe send photos of the little feedback forms that I got. Just whatever I needed to do to provide feedback within a reasonable time. Next day is too late. Their sellers already are like, hey, how'd that open house go? And they don't know. You were the one that was there. So send it to them within the day. Send your thank you emails and text messages to all of the attendees within 24 hours. I'll tell you personally, I don't like to text people on Sunday. So I would always do it on Monday. Personalized video messages, stand out with a quick video follow-up. I always love to do it whenever I was walking out of the door. If I had a really strong connection with a couple and I wanted to make sure that I captured that connection, I would send them a message while I was locking up. It was kind of cheesy, but you would close the door and, hey, I'm packing up from the open house. It was a success. A lot of families came by, but I've got to say, I really want to be your real estate resource this year while you're on your home buying journey. So please don't hesitate. If you have any questions or concerns, I'm here to help you. Keep me updated on your conversation with that mortgage lender or whatever that touch point was. I have a free home buying guide. So anyone who walks in the door always gets a copy from me through that follow-up thank you message. And so let me know if you have any questions about that home buying guide that reviews the process with you. The home buying guide is available. There's a lot of templates out there. I'm never shy to share mine because I took the time to build it out, customize it. So if you ever want a template free, ready to go, just edit it to your own personalization for your branding, just send me that email and ask for a copy of the home buying guide, and I'm happy to share my Canva template with you. And then, of course, a next step handout. You always want them to, again, it's human nature to hesitate or shy. I'd say majority of consumers are shy, not let me, give me the home buying guide, give me this resource. They don't know what resources are out there. You're the professional. So next steps is in your control. So after you do that follow-up, hey, the next steps would be to get pre-qualified. The next steps would to take a look at that list that I sent you because they were already pre-approved. And let's schedule the next tours. Are you available tomorrow? Are you available this evening? You control the next steps. Be sure that they know what the next steps are. This is the part in the class where typically I ask, anyone in the class that has hosted an open house, what situations have you run into that you wish you could have done better? What are some obstacles that we need to overcome in these conversations? What's holding you back from doing open houses? So in this moment, I would just like to take a moment to say, get out there and do open houses. My favorite story from 2025, we could say this year because it was 4 months ago, but 2025, a new agent had just joined us the month before. We finally got him to do an open house. He was so nervous to do it. He's right up the road from our office. A young couple comes in and says, we like this neighborhood, but look, like this house isn't going to work for us. We're kind of looking for something more turnkey ready. He sends them a list of new construction opportunities. They jump over to a new construction neighborhood right down the road. And that new agent, 2 months into his real estate business, had a 3% commission and I believe a $10,000 referral, BTSA, referral fee, bonus to the sales agent. And he walked out of this office within 90 days of starting his real estate career with a $28,000 check from one open house. And it serves as a reminder, one, I see what you've done, God, for others. Shine your light on me. And yet I'm not doing open houses anymore. So there's not going to be the opportunity for me to have that kind of conversion. And you miss every shot you don't take. So if you want that kind of return, if you want those kinds of opportunities in real estate, take a few hours on a Saturday and a Sunday, host an open house consistently, and watch those opportunities happen for you. Don't be a real estate agent this year. Your success is all up to you. If you are struggling in your real estate business, get with your team leader, get with your coach, your mentor, find a coach or mentor if that's something that you're needing in your business, and make this year your year. The real estate market does not control what happens. The real estate market is what it is. What we're doing today is we're learning to navigate what we have, because some real estate agents are still having the best years of their careers because they're doing the work, following up, and they're getting it done. So if you have any questions, my email is in the bio. And thank you so much for watching this YouTube video. I hope it was helpful for you and your business.